Hi guys, it's gsndom.com and I'm here with a handset called the Allview A5 Duo. Allview is a Romanian company, it's a company from Eastern Europe, and they brand several devices brought straight from China, usually lower end smartphones. So the Allview A5 Duo, this is a handset for the youngsters. The price tag is $166. It's pretty affordable and it comes with a full 4-inch screen, dual core CPU and dual SIM setup. The design is a pretty massive and bulky one, but the adherence is good. It's a solid device, resilient. We have a nice texture at the back, soft touch. However, the lid that you see here, it's reasonably hard to get off, but it's pretty hard to put back on properly. There will always be some little corner left that will not close properly. Okay, if you want to talk measurements, the Allview A5 Duo measures 11.5 millimeters in thickness. It weighs 137.7 grams, and I like the design of the camera at the back. I have to say I'm impressed. For a lower end smartphone and a cheap one, this design here is quite nice. I don't understand why the on off button is so long. As you can see, excuse me, this is the volume button, this is the on off button. You can see the confusion. Long button, long button. This one has two symbols, volume up, volume down, and this one, the power button, only one symbol, but once again long for some reason. Okay, those buttons are easy to press, at least that's the thing I like on this device. Also, we got a frame around the screen here and around the device. It may look like metal, it's fake metal. It's a strategy that many companies, especially from Asia, are adopting for design nowadays. If you want to talk specifications, well, the hardware of this device includes a CPU that's a MediaTek MT6572. This one is a dual core processor with a 1.2 GHz clock rate. It's a Cortex A7 CPU, and the GPU is a Mali 400MP. You've heard about it before. It's been used on a lot of devices. This is a dual SIM, dual standby phone. SIMs are under the battery, and the display you see here, this one is a 4-inch TFT LCD with a pretty unimpressive resolution. That resolution is 480 over 800 pixels. We got a GPS on board. We got 3G video call. There's 4 gigs of storage available on board, and one of them, and from the 4 gigs, 1.5 gigs are available to the user. We also get 512 megabytes of RAM on this device, and there's a microSD card slot that offers support for up to 32 gigabytes extra. There's FM radio on this handset, and we got a Yamaha amplifier to take care of the sound. While at the back you can find the 3.2 megapixel camera with LED flash, at the front 0.3 megapixel camera, and on the connectivity side we get, among others, HSDPA with 21.6 mega per second. Speaking of connectivity, there is also Bluetooth 4.0, and we also have Wi-Fi, microUSB 2.0, and other specs include a G sensor, and we also have a proximity sensor, a light sensor, and a compass. Now let's talk a bit about the battery, and for that I'm also going to show you some screenshots. We're dealing with a lithium-ion unit here, and this lithium-ion unit is a 1700 mAh battery. On paper it provides 240 hours of standby or 600 minutes of 2G talk time. The charging of the device to the maximum level takes about 3 hours and a half, and in our tests, using the device for 2 hours of video playback with 50% Wi-Fi, we used up 33% of the battery. Overall, we got out of it a percentage of 6 hours of playback, and you also get a nifty widget here. You can see this one, this widget estimating your time of use, also with a power saving feature that will extend the time use with 2 hours. Pretty cool feature, pretty cool widget with power saving. You can easily get 1 day of use out of this device, which for a price tag as low as this is a good bargain. And entering the settings area, you'll see some interesting settings for the battery. Let's find them. So we have power saving here. You can activate system power saving or custom power saving. The system power saving activates power parameters automatically, and the custom power saving will let you tweak the experience by turning off some settings. So you can really tweak your power usage on this device, and I really like this widget right here. Okay, now it's time to test the audio. Before I do that, I want to close all the open apps, just a precaution. I'm using SoundCloud to avoid any copyright problems, and let's try to find a decent DJ, artist, rocker or whatever. Okay, we found this one. Let's try to find a free tune. And let's turn up the volume. This is not the maximum volume, still impressive. Speaker right here. This is the maximum volume. Okay, so you get the idea. We have excellent volume. I was actually surprised. This is a phone that costs less than $200 and still very impressive volume, very loud, very clear and warm voice. The bass is good, but the back of the device will vibrate at maximum volume. By the way, the headphones that come with this device are blessed, so to say, with a good design, a decent design that fit well in the user's ear, and they have a decent volume, but they're the average plasticky accessories, so don't expect too much from them aside from good volume. Overall, I'm impressed by the audio of the Allview A5 Duo thanks to this speaker. Now, as far as the video is concerned, let's watch a YouTube video, a trailer for Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. This is a 4-inch TFT LCD screen. As I said, 4-inch TFT LCD screen with a resolution of 480 over 800 pixels. It has vivid colors, there is no oversaturation. However, there is a slight problem here. The viewing angles are not so good. As you can see, everything is dimmed down once you start turning the device. So, as I said, the view angles not so good. However, the screen is pretty bright. We achieved 220 lux units on white and 1 lux unit on black. And to prove that, we have some shots taken by using our lux meter. So here it is. This is what the pixels of the device look like under a microscope on a white background and on a black background. As I said, 220 lux units on white, which means about as bright as the Galaxy S4 Mini, and the pixels of this handset screen are of the RGB stripe type. The handset can do 720p playback, in case you're wondering. Now at the back here we got a 3.2 megapixel camera with LED flash, geotagging, and I'm going to use a tiny little castle to take a picture and see what the 3.2 megapixel camera is all about. First, let's kill some processes to avoid any unnecessary blocking. Okay, this is the UI of the camera. You can zoom in by using this here, and frankly speaking, the options look a bit dated. The options include capture modes like normal, panorama or face beauty, capture action, normal, touch shot, gesture shot or smile shot, flash mode options, some color effects that include mono, sepia, negative or none, plus some cookie effects like the phone boot with a Bobo rabbit for a background or rainbow, so playful effects for the children. This is a handset destined for the youngsters after all. Okay, now in the settings area we have quite a few options for a 3 megapixel camera. We got scene modes, we got white balance with a few options, we have face detection, store location, continuous shot, up to 99 frames, exposure options, a self timer, picture size, you can see 3.2 megapixel is the maximum, AE meter, anti-flicker, and camera sound. So let's actually take a picture. You can see there's no touch focus involved, and don't expect too much speed from this sensor. This is what the pictures look like. It's noisy, but as I said, the camera is actually reasonable for a 3.2 megapixel unit with LED flash. Okay, the pictures are well illuminated. That's what I noticed. First thing, I didn't take many shots, but all of them are pretty self-explanatory. As I said, very well lighted. And the quality is not bad at all for a 3 megapixel camera. The colors are also vivid without being oversaturated. Of course, don't expect too much from the video quality. The video is taken with 3GP files and the colors look pretty realistic. The pictures are very good for such a camera. And now let's also see a video so we can know what we're dealing with. This is a 3GP file, as I said. Overall, the camera may be good, but the video is not that impressive. I was impressed particularly by the bright pictures, their good illumination and the realistic colors, but forget about filming. Overall, as I said, the camera is good. After all, we're dealing with a phone that's priced below $200. Okay, so now I'm going to discuss software a little bit. I'm going to access the settings, going into the About area. And here it is, we're running Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean, and now it's time to check out the web browser. Is the standard one for Android phones. By the way, comfy virtual keyboard. And let's try to access gsmdome.com. Here we go. Don't expect too much speed from this browser. A reasonable speed for such a small handset. Some scrolling around, some pinching to zoom. And this is what the website looks like in landscape mode. Once again, this is the Allview A5 Duo handset, in case you're wondering. A phone that goes for below $200 in price tag. We also did some benchmarks here, some synthetic testing of the performance of the device. All the famous benchmarks are here, or almost all of them. I decided to compare the Allview A5 Duo with the iBoda V100, a device also from Romania that I recently tested. Okay, so this device scores 2,896 points. It beats the iBoda V100 by 300 points. In Antutu, well, we scored here 11,000 points. We beat the iBoda V100 by 4,000 points. Moving up, Nano Mark II, 32.2 frames per second. We beat the iBoda by 4 frames per second. And Velamo, 1,700 points. Pretty decent score for such a small handset. We beat the iBoda V100 by 300 points. So keep beating that device. And sadly, the 3D Mark and Browser Mark 2.0 simply don't work on this device, in case you're wondering what happened to them. I have to say, Allview wins the duel with the iBoda V100 and the prices are pretty similar, but the iBoda model I mentioned has a 5 megapixel camera at the back and a bit better screen, just a little bit better. Okay, now it's time to talk about the temperature. Aside from using a microscope on the screen, we also use the special thermometer for the back side. Here it is. After playing some games on the handset, we reached a temperature of 34 degrees Celsius after playing some video and some games, and the handset is not very hot at the back, which is always good. On the calling area, the sound is loud and clear and nothing to object on this dual SIM handset. You should probably know that Android has been modified a bit by Allview, so it's the almost stock experience, so to say. You'll see that most of all in the settings area. Those icons come from Allview. You can also see their specific themes, wallpapers and effects. So I just change the theme by pressing a single button. Press it again and you'll apply another theme. As you can see, it takes a while. Okay, so this is the theme area where you get to pick one of the looks of your device. You can go with Berry, Glossy, A5 Duo. These are the schemes that you can apply to your device. Each come with a set of unique icons. You can also change the wallpaper and the transition effects between the screens. Now we're on flip, for example. And if you don't like flip, you can press this and we have stack. You can press that again and you have spring. and those are some of the effects that you can apply here. Okay, so if you want to see widgets, you have to know that the widgets are not in the same area as the apps. You simply have to keep the screen pressed and you'll see the widget area available here. Among all these widgets, I found one that deserves a lot of praise. It's this one here, the battery widget, that estimates the time you have left, shows you what you can stop to improve power saving, and has a power saving button that automatically improves your battery life, which I give a big thumbs up to this widget. Okay, so in the apps area, let's analyze what we have included here. And we find the usual gallery, and we find the file explorer that I find to be very nice. Nice interface, by the way. Nice way to browse the pictures, browse your songs, and let's go back. Directories here, so a basic file explorer. Aside from that, we also have the Play Store, the clock, calendar, the themes, calculator, FM radio, sound recorder. In the navigation area, we find the good old Google Maps, working just fine on this small screen. Expect just a tiny little bit of lag, but here we are, localized and working fine if you want to find the nearest club or shop nearby. Okay, moving further from the maps, we find the browser, camera, an app manager, so you can move, uninstall, or use default settings for your apps, set some permissions. Quite a useful application, this one. You can accelerate the phone by cleaning your cache, closing the applications, and even have a boot optimizer here. Yet another useful app. We have a special system update application, always useful. A wireless input device. Apparently you can use a mouse in tandem with this phone. I haven't tried it, so I guess I should believe it works. We also have a game called The Avengers. Nothing much. It's a side-scrolling game with a graphic that feels a bit dated. There's also Bitdefender Mobile Security bundled on the device. Okay, you can scan your phone and find malware, clean it up. So you probably know that Allview tends to bundle its phone with Bitdefender Mobile Security. Malware scanner, privacy advisor, anti-theft, and all the features that people love on these devices. Okay, we also have some Gameloft games. We have a torch feature. We have this color application that allows you quick access to wallpaper, themes, and effects. And we also have a notes app for quick note taking. Then there's Office Suite for your productivity needs, and two Gameloft games, Little Big City and Wonder Zoo, if you're feeling like a gamer. Speaking of gaming, I also installed the game Astro Boy Dash to see how the title handles moderate games. I say moderate, I mean the sort of games that are destined for mid-range devices. Basically the sort of games that resemble Temple Run. After all, this is a merely dual-core, dual-SIM phone. And let's see how it handles this game. As far as I know, it has a dual-core CPU inside that's a bit older, so I didn't want to force it too much with a modern game. So let's do some running. You can tilt to move your character. Pretty fast-paced action. A bit like Temple Run, but with an anime twist. Also reminds me of Despicable Me, and only a bit harder. Okay, start from the get-go. Slide tutorial, and let's try again. This is Astro Boy Dash, and as you can see, it works without lag on this dual-core, dual-SIM phone with a price tag below $200. Allview A5 Duo. Okay, since we reached the time of the conclusion, it's time to list the pros and cons of this handset. Of course, on the pro side there is the low price, the decent performance, the solid design. This feels like a phone that can take a punch, unless you consider the removable back case that had a bit of a problem. We got a Yamaha amplifier inside, you should remember that. So this means excellent volume, loud volume. We have HSDPA connectivity with a speed of 21 mega per second, maximum speed of course. Other things worth mentioning are the camera at the back that was surprisingly good for a 3.2 megapixel camera, and the battery that achieves over 1 day of use. The audio is very loud, and the benchmarks surpass the rival from the same country, iBoda V100. There are lots of bundled apps, as you can see here, which are also a plus. On the cons side, the negative aspects, the lid that closes up pretty roughly, you have to snap each little area of the lid, the on-off button that's elongated and feels strange, the fact that we have too little storage. Immediately after starting up the phone and installing just a few apps, only a few, let's say 3 of them, 4 of them, you'll feel that you run out of space. I must also mention the view angles of the screen are a bit disappointing, as you can see. The camera UI is what I would call ugly and dated, and finally the video capture is quite poor. Now let's give it some grades. For design we give it an 8, for the hardware an 8.3 out of 10, and for operating system and user interface, it's Android 4.2 after all, we give it an 8.5 out of 10. The final grade is 8.26, and between this model and the iBoda one, frankly speaking, I would choose the iBoda V100 because it has the superior camera and also seems to play better games, if you ask me. So this is the Allview A5 Duo with a grade of 8.26 out of 10 at gsndon.com. Bye bye.